For this presentation, you, the audience, will pretend to be parents at your child's preschool, and I am the teacher. Okay. Good evening. As an intro to the beginning of the school year, I wanted to explain the basis of my instruction and why the classroom and curriculum is the way that it is. So to begin, this is about UDL, or Universal Design for Learning. This is my way of getting all the kids on the same page. As you can see, all these kids are doing something different, but in that way, they're working to achieve the same goal. So what is UDL? UDL sprouted from UD, or Universal Design. This focused on making building structures accessible to all people. They did this through wheelchair ramps and automatic doors. But then people began thinking that this could be brought into the classroom. So UDL, Universal Design for Learning, takes the concept further by making goals, methods, materials, and assessments of instruction accessible to all students. Teachers do this to design their classrooms, their curriculum, and their instruction, and they follow 3 principles of UDL to do this. The first is providing multiple means of representation. This means making sure instruction, expectations, and learning opportunities exist in various forms and levels of complexity. The second one is having or providing multiple means of action and expression. So I provide the students with a variety of formats to show what they know and for expressing their feelings and preferences. And the third principle is providing multiple means of engagement. This is providing various ways to arouse children's curiosity, interest, and motivations. By doing this, children are given the ability to build local autonomy, and this leads to a strong sense of independence, which in preschool we are all about. The next is this leads into classroom organization. And this is a strong component of UDL. For the overall room, we want to make sure that everything is accessible to every child. This means having big, wide spaces, ramps, railings for children to hold on to, low shelves so children can reach all the materials, having things clearly labeled, and also having defined spaces, which we call centers, for students to play in. Listed here are all the centers in our room, and each center is filled with a variety of materials to meet the needs and interests of each student. This is a picture of one of our rooms, or one of our centers. As you can see, we have low shelves and lots of space to play, and it's comfy and colorful. And if we went around the rest of the room, there would be more examples of that. But everything's clearly defined and labeled, which makes it really easy for our students to learn. As I mentioned, we use a variety of materials, and this is to meet the auditory, visual, and tactile needs of all of our students. We also give our students many ways to work with these materials, and they have a big choice in how they work with them. The greatest example of the variety of materials are in our block arts and puzzle center. In our block center, we have at least 10 different kinds of blocks, and this is an example of them. We have big waffle blocks, which kids like to build and sit in, as you can see. We have Legos for our older 4s that are more developed, and they really like to build intricate structures. And we have wooden blocks, which become towers that we knock down. In the puzzle center, we have big puzzles with 5 to 6 pieces that our younger 3s can put together, to floor puzzles that take groups of children to do. So we provide a lot of that, and the art center is filled with paints and crayons and markers and scented markers and paper and cutting opportunities. So we really try to make as many materials open to the children as possible. And once again, always giving them a choice in how they play with them. UDL leads the idea of backwards design. And this is what I follow when I plan my lessons. First, I want to identify the desired results, or my goal. And then I need to figure out how am I going to assess them? What's going to be my evidence, or the ways that students are going to do it, and then how am I going to plan to teach them. This method is very nice because I can differentiate how I'm going to teach and the goals for all my students depending on where they're at, and I can provide support to a group of students that need support and then give the students that don't need as much support something different to do. So that way your child is always working at the level that they need to with the right amount of support and doing something that keeps them interested, having fun, and learning. This idea of backwards design is focused on not what I'm teaching, but how I'm teaching it. And I think that's very important in our classroom, to always be careful and mindful of how we are teaching something, because the way that you present material to one student might not be the same for another. And that's how this backwards design process helps me figure out. Well, to wrap it all up, UDL sets up the perfect foundation for differentiated instruction, as I mentioned above, which allows all students to learn in a way that meets their needs while keeping all students on track, motivated, and excited to reach their goals. And this picture, I think, sums it up perfectly. The globe's kind of like our classroom, and those are all our students. And even though they're all working at different levels and working in different ways, they're all going to reach a common goal. And they're all happy about it. All right, any questions, comments, concerns?